Hola, everyone.
Hola.
I know a few Spanish words, but always one of them, and I know Buenos dias. Okay, should we start? Yeah, people are still coming in and out, so I'll start. Today I'm going to talk about how to lead open source development teams in a large-scale cloud-based systems. And just to let you know, my talk is not going to be very technical. For those who've heard Andre this morning or others, my talk is not going to be very technical. I'm not going to write any code and things like that. I'm going to talk about leadership. Very important thing if you are planning to develop on large-scale systems. So, can you raise your hands? How many of you have ever developed something on a cloud? One, two, three. Meaning?
Yeah, meaning what?
Anything on a cloud. Applications, websites, whatever.
Even in small application in a single server.
Yeah, just let's fix things. Let's say cloud, whatever it is. Okay. Okay, keep hands up. Keep hands up. Okay, now lower your hand or raise the hands those who have ever led a team developing on a cloud. Okay, lesser. Good. Okay, let's start it. Before I start, some words about me. First thing, I do work for Wunderkraut, which is one of the biggest Drupal shops in Europe. Drupal shops we call development agencies who use Drupal as their main platform to deliver a project. And we use Drupal not only for websites, but even for more sophisticated applications. So it's a very good platform. And I think you had a talk earlier today about how to kickstart your applications in Drupal. That's about where I work. And about me, if you can tell what that person on that side is, that's me. Around 7 years ago. I was... Sorry?
Let's talk about that. How do you do it?
No. If you want to hear about that, how I did that, we can meet later in the evening. You can, well, we can have a beer and then I'll talk to you about it. Good, but the reason why I put these slides on, because this is one of the bases why I talk about leadership. And yes, it was 7 years ago. It was just 130 kilograms. I was doing a bunch of jobs. And I didn't like the life, actually, to be honest. So that's why I wrote lots of question marks. I didn't know what I was doing. So it took me a year to come down to 92, and then it may be scalable. I can scale back to 130. Maybe a passionate, and answering to your question again, you can tweet me if you want to find out more. That's about me. Right, and moving on. Let's try to define things before we actually start to talk about how to do things. And let's start with the first thing in my title of my presentation. So, what is cloud? What is cloud? You don't have to answer. I'll try to help you. Let's answer, is this cloud? Is this cloud?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It is cloud. There are actually a bunch of clouds. 6 or 7. So let's agree this is cloud. Is this cloud?
Yes.
I hope you can see it. Is this cloud? Who agrees with me? Is this cloud? I say yes. Who agrees? Raise your hand. Okay, not too many. Yeah, this is cloud. This is just a simple example of architecture, how you would start to build the cloud. A wireframe, what would you do? But this is cloud. Okay. Let's see, can this be a cloud? Okay. More people agree, good. We are heading towards the destination, that's good. And if we move on, is this then a cloud?
It depends.
Yeah, this is, I used to work for the construction industry. It's just a brand new building of one of the Amazon data centers in Oregon. I think it looks to me they're just about to finish it. They'll probably start to move some servers in with trucks in a few days. Good. So what is it, cloud? Let's move on. So I actually turned to Wikipedia when I tried to understand what is cloud. Wikipedia gave a theoretical definition, but that's not the subject of my talk. I want to talk about people, so I turned to people, and I asked people what they would define in their own words, what means cloud. And I found a great source, and there are about 6 industry leaders. Don't read this, you don't have to, we'll do a sum up. There are about 6 industry leaders from a massive organizations who use cloud systems to manage their infrastructures or deliver softwares as services. So if you want to find out more, there is a source link to the blog post, and you can read all this there. But to sum up what I've said, let's look at what then is the cloud. So by the way, a bunch of them say that they don't know what it is. Funny though. They're leaders of industry, but they don't know what that is. So I think they don't say that they don't know what it is. They don't really understand what they can do with that. If we move along, they obviously say that's a service. It's definitely a service. Delivery, you can deliver some things, products, infrastructure, stuff like that. It's a software, customer, system, and it's scalable. And these adjectives basically describe or sum up everything what those 6 guys said. So this is a bunch of things and pieces what can do something for us or for your team. Okay, since we understand, do you understand what cloud means then? Okay, we're on the same track, good. Let's move then and try to understand the next part of it. What are people? Tough question. Are we people here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We agree on that? That's good, because we are people. We are a bunch of individuals who come together to do nice things, to plan something. Okay, then I'll ask you a question. Can a swarm and a mass of people, are they still a people? Okay, we agree. It's a nice picture, National Geographic series of pictures. It's taken from it looked to me that it was taken in London, but it's not, because the trains in London doesn't look like the trains. So it's taken somewhere else. Can a basketball team, I hope you know this guy, because I don't know him. I'm not a basketball fan, I'm an ice hockey player, ex-ice hockey player, so really not familiar with basketball. But they play again in the United States. This picture is taken from the Olympics in London last year, so probably that bet the US, I guess. I hope. You know that. Can a team be a people?
Yes.
Good. All right, since we've defined what are people, are we? Good. Good. By the way, I forgot the simple thing of logistics. If you have a question or you want to raise an argument, you raise your hand and say that argument or question, and you will get a Latvian chocolate. Yeah. I don't have it for all of you, so we'll have a question and answer session at the end, but yeah. If you want to say something, just say it. So let's ask us a question. So if we define what is cloud and if we define what are people, so we can ask a question, why to lead them? Why to lead a swarm and a mass of people who just go every morning to take a train to their jobs? Why to lead people in this, even in the software business? Because sometimes it seems to us they are self-led. They know what they do, they just communicate to each other. Why to lead them? Why on earth we need to hire somebody, pay him millions of money, and then elect him a leader? Why we need to lead? Okay. Sorry? To organize. Good answer. I think you have honest for you. Nice for you. Good answer. Organize. Well, we'll come to that. We'll come to the organization, but let's go through some other stuff. So I used to when I started to develop when I became a software developer, because I moved away from a construction business to become a software developer. And I used to be a project manager for many years in a construction business. So I still do read and I still try to understand why on earth do we need to lead people? Because if you don't lead people in other businesses, you can mess up things pretty heavily. In a construction business, that is important. All those nice buildings in Buenos Aires have been built because people have been led correctly, and I hope in a good way. So there is this quote. I don't want to read it fully, but there are some words which I highlighted. So, because we add value to people if we lead them. Because we want them to become better. And finally, we want to do this because we want to make their way easier to walk. If you want to do something, or if you want to develop something on your own, you can do it today. Today you can develop a cloud-based application on your own. You're a genius. I hope you all are. No, you are geniuses. So you can develop it. This is your possibility. You can do that. You can develop it. But it doesn't mean that it will be the best application in the world. Working in a team can be hard, but the leader with a team can make things better. Right. So why on earth we need to lead a team? Why on earth we need to lead a football team, a national Argentinian football team? They're all best players in the world. Each of them. Why on earth we need to play them? We just say them, well, you can go to field and just beat those guys from England or States or whatever. Why on earth do we need to lead them? And anyone knows what Steve Jobs is?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to joke. It's not true. So, again, one of his great talks given, and somebody took a quote out of it. And again, I don't want to read all of it. He's talking about basically, at the end, when you finish your project, you think that you've done kind of everything and you can just simply lie at home, enjoy your company and things like that. But what I like in this quote, that he says that he wants to go at night in the bed and feel that we've done something wonderful. And I want to emphasize this word, we. This is a team. That's why we need to lead teams. In order to achieve something, but we have done something wonderful. So why on earth then we need to lead clients? I received this quote from a client, literally. And the client was familiar with software development. He was familiar with the things what GIF can do and all those nice rotating things. But he asked me kind of a similar question. And the reason for that, we'll talk later. We'll find an answer to reason why not to get from customers, why not to get from customers these type of letters? Why not to get from other people involved in your project? You're delivering it with these type of questions. So why not do we need to lead a community? Anyone knows where this picture is taken? No, but this picture is in Google Images already. But it's not taken in Google. Good. Better guess? No.
England.
Right. I'm not going to. Otherwise, we will not get to the finish with it. This is taken in Prague, and this is the European Drupal community. And they're all pointing hands to Dries Betre, who is the leader and the kind of creator of Drupal. So that picture is taken last week. I'm here. And because last week we had the DrupalCon in Prague in Europe. That's taken from there. And actually Dries himself answered the question, why do on earth we need to lead a community? Of developers, by the way. They're all developers. Some develop more, some develop less, but they do something for Drupal. And again, you don't have to read this I think the most thing what is important in this quote is strong local leadership. That's why local communities thrive when they have strong leaders who persevere, who sort of try to convince people why Drupal is good. Drupal is open source, that's PHP, and Drupal is only one example. We need to lead people in order to achieve something better, and Drupal is really great. Drupal has achieved because of the quite a strong leadership. The community stays around 3 to, it really, nobody says exact figures, but users are around 600,000 registered in Drupal. They might not all, they all might not be active, but there are quite a lot of users. Okay, we've defined, we've asked questions, so let's move again. How to lead them? We've discovered the problem, why to lead. We've asked the question. So let's go on and ask also another one, how to lead. Nice girl. She's pointing a finger to you. To me too. It actually all depends on you, how to lead. But let's move on and talk about that deeper. Why to lead? This is, I love English language, especially Old English. If you live in Britain for many years, you learn a lot of Old English words. There are 3 of them here. This is a leadership proverb. It's quoted in many talks about leadership. And basically what it says, the one who thinks that he leads and has no one following it is only taking a walk. I'm just transliterating because the thinketh and leadeth and hath are Old English words. They're not used anymore. But if you live in UK or you you engage with the UK community, sometimes they use those words. They want to be cool guys. That's why you need to lead them. Because if you think that you lead, you don't actually do any good. And the team, they're all your friends. If you work in the teams today, they're all your friends. You may have friends with whom you go out on Friday to have some beers. They are your friends as well. But the teams you work in, they might be actually better friends than the ones you go out on Fridays. Because you work with them, you deliver something nice. Let them make mistakes. A crucial and important thing. We've heard this morning about cake PHP, and we already heard that cake PHP embraces this thing of fail fast, make mistakes. In Latvia we do have a card game, and that card game is taught in a principle of you've been given a card and you have to play it. The only way to teach you is to make mistakes. You have to fail, and at least until you reach the moment you understand what you do. The same thing applying in software development. You can fail, and if you're good guys, and I'm sure you are good guys, you're good developers, you can't fail, you can't break things. And on the cloud applications, it's very simple. If you break one server, you cancel it and install a new one. Don't do it on production. Build your trust in your team. This is not the team has to trust you, you have to trust them. First trust them, and then they will trust you. How many of you asked this question to your colleagues? How you're getting on? How many of you have ever asked this question to your colleagues? Raise your hands. Okay, then how many of you do this once a month? Okay, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay. Don't want to embarrass. How many of you do this every week? 1, 2, 2. Good. When you move back to your working places on Monday, start asking this every morning. You have to ask them. Your team needs to feel your spirit. That's how you make them. That's how you build your trust in them. Don't ask them what's going on with your code, or have you managed to resolve that and that issue, or have you managed to resolve some old issue in PHP, or did you finally understood what function array map means? Don't ask those questions. They do understand. Ask them how they are getting on. That will build the trust factor that you trust them, you care about them. The next one is, how many of you encourage your colleagues to take lunch on time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 20. How many of you do it every month? Every month, you encourage somebody to take lunch on time. 1, 2. Okay. And just out of curiosity, how many do this every week? Good. Do it every day. Taking lunch on time is a part of plan. Everyone has to take some food in order to do some work, otherwise you'll probably fall down at the end. Do it every day. Encourage take lunch on time. That will make your team much better. They will perform and they will know that you as a leader take care of them. It's really important. Clients. Why on earth do we need clients? We asked that question, why on earth do we need to lead clients? Do you know that chap? Good. This is one of my favorite quotes. By the way, I use this quote to teach my mother, who is 55, how to use Linux. She knows perfectly. She doesn't like Windows. She Skypes, she emails me using the Linux platform, so that's the stuff. If you can't simply explain something you know to somebody else, it means that you don't know that thing. And this is crucial in order that you want to avoid those tricky letters I've demonstrated before. You have to tell them, don't just improve your documentation. Try to talk with the customers, try to understand what they don't understand. Sometimes a simple question. My wife the other day asked me to show something how you can do some layers, some work with layers in a Photoshop. And I think we discussed that question for about 40 minutes until finally I got what she wants to be told, what she wants to be taught. So finally we ended up, no, she knows, she created a nice presentation at the end. But for me, crucial moment was to ask a question, what exactly do you need? And this is the question in our workplace in Wunderkraft, we do a lot. We ask questions, clients, we challenge them. So why on earth you need to do this? This is one of the challenging questions. Do you understand what you're doing? Right. And a couple of quotes I made. Clients have to be trained. If you want to sleep well at night, train your clients. If you don't want to receive weird emails, train them. Learn from them. They are your best teachers. They will discover every small bug, every big bug. We will make sure that that bug has been discovered and that bug has been reported. Have a pint mate. Enjoy experience and celebrate. I can put all three of them together. These are sayings that come from the area I come from originally, from Northern Europe, Latvia, UK and things like that. Celebrate with them. Just go out with them. I'm not sure if you do this here in Argentina, but London, Latvia, Sweden, Germany, all countries that are covered by Wunderkraft, we take our clients out. And it doesn't happen like officially, like my boss said that I have to invite you. No, just say you've done your job, you've been in a meeting, a tough meeting, you've discussed lots of things. Say, okay, we're finished, come on, let's have a beer. And why on earth do we need to lead a community? And I have to make a confession. I moved away from software business to understand why on earth do we need to lead a community. This is a guy, Nicky Gamble, he leads a massive community in London. And this is not related to any software at all. So what he has done, he has taken a day off and he has taken a word leadership and has created in English words some adjectives and other stuff, what means leading a community. I'm not going to read them, but they're all things that we have to think about when we lead teams and lead people. Right, let's move to the easiest part, cloud applications. And in cloud applications, if you follow my thoughts, then in cloud applications, things can become pretty easy. First, divide tasks. If you don't have time for the other person, if you don't have time to do tasks, give it to other person. Delegate it away, forget it. If you don't understand English, if you struggle to write in English because you are Spanish or talking Spanish, give it to somebody who knows it perfectly. And just then forget about it. Because person will do it in a better way. If you know that a person has better talent or has talents to write code in other languages, not only in PHP, but your project asks some other programming languages to be involved, server-side like Java, front-end side JavaScript, just give it to that person and forget about it. Sometimes we might think that if I do it myself, I learn better that particular task, or I will have more skills at the end. But at the end, you end up overworking, over hours, overtime, and things like that. You get tired, which means your knowledge doesn't go in through. Delegate it away. And by the way, out of coincidence, some people said that if they have a fear, if they divide away a task, they will lose money. This is one of the craziest quotes I've ever heard, and I had that in my mind. But when you delegate away the tasks, your team will do better work, which means all your analysis, all your figures, all your performance will improve, and you will deliver better and faster. Assign roles. Assign roles. Take it to your team and assign them roles. All of us has a certain talent. Some can do one thing better, other person can do other thing better. Some are very fast coders, they type like a typing machine. Others, though, are quick searchers. They know how to quickly find solution. They are not fast typers. I'm not a fast coder. I'm really slow. I type like 80 words a minute, not more than that. I'm really slow, but it doesn't stop me to be a good developer. I've received a quote from one of my colleagues in London when I was working, a guy from Ghana. He said that the good developers, these are not developers that can code fast. They are developers who can find solutions quick. So delegate away, assign roles. If you know somebody types fast, give that person a type of job where you need a fast coding, or where you need a fast typing. And set boundaries. This is crucial. How many of you have ever fixed bug, not on a development environment, but in a production, directly from a command line? Quite a lot. Me too. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Set boundaries. Your production server is taboo. Don't do any bug fixes there. Although we do. We always replicate it back to, that was an emergency. There are no emergencies in a software business. We can always take it back to our whether staging or whether local environment. Fix it there. And then push it back. Some organizations, bigger ones, they implement various deployment management and configuration management systems. They don't allow any developer to access production environment. But to convince somebody to invest money in this thing it's one of the hardest works. I do some freelance work sometimes because I want to improve my knowledge and convince. I do have a charity that I work with on the freelance basis and convince them that this has to be done. It's already taking me a year and more. And we are still talking about that. And devs go to production site and they do some nasty stuff. This is one of the boundaries. Other boundaries, as an example, don't allow developers change configuration. How many of you change configuration on the production servers? Me too. Test it and then apply it. Okay. Let's do something a bit different. Let's stand up all, because we're getting a bit tired and... Let's stand up. Come on. Yeah, you're all a bit tired. Now, turn to right. Oh, good. Now you've got your colleague in front of me. This is your teammate, your best mate. Now take your hands, put your hands on the shoulders. Both. Each on each. On shoulders. Yeah. Yep, like that. And now you massage those shoulders.
Thank you.
Come on, let's do it for a minute. Yeah.
No, it's for real.
Come on. Okay, stop. Now turn the other way around. I gotta do it again. Okay, thank you guys, you're right. I have to confess, developers' work is one of the unhealthiest jobs in the world. You have to sit all day, which means, just my encouragement, do some exercising. It can be pretty simple like we did just now. So try it on Monday. You go back to work, try it on Monday. And see what your colleagues who are not here say to you. Great, let's go to examples. Let's see some case studies. I'll demonstrate you two organizations I work for. First one, Save the Children. It's the massive charity known in the world. They deal with various matters of child protection and stuff like that. There are around 11,000 people employed by them, but I was employed by UK office, so we were 600 in total. In the whole organization, we were 6 in a dev team. We're applying Agile, and I've specially stroked through leadership. Leadership was not embraced in our organization. Initiative was embraced. So by that's how I first got a title senior developer. So they just said to me, Janis, you take initiative, you become senior now. They don't pay you more, they just say you become. We had one manager and lots of third-party suppliers. So, how then we dealt with the cloud systems? Not many people working, but our clients were 600, minus 6, so which means around 590. Any other person from Save the Children had an option to come to the digital team led by one guy and 5 guys in the team, 3 devs and 2 project managers. Anyone could come with a project, what he thinks has to be improved, or launch a campaign. So any one of those 590 people could have come to us and asked for something to do. And that all runs in a cloud, an Amazon cloud, among the trees somewhere, I don't know where. They say in Ireland, but you never know. And that's how it looks for us. It's a pretty tight communication. That's how we went to meetings. We had project owners, project managers and developers team. We all went together and our communications was like a circle. Sometimes project owner and the project manager had the first and initial meeting when they set up a project, when they tried to discover requirements. Sometimes not. Sometimes we were even forced to go with project manager because our boss thought that the project manager would promise something we could not deliver. You know, crazy project managers. That kind of stuff. Nevertheless, and what is most crucial and important here is this communication between project owner, or take it whatever you want, customer and the developer. There are not a lot of organizations who emphasize this method, but project owner could have sent us a request, a plea, a query, and we could have resolved. We had a direct communication. We could have simply replied to project owner's emails and resolved the issue and situation easier. Does it make sense? Next one, Wunderkraut. This is a bit tougher case. This is the organization I work for now. We are represented in about, I can't remember this. There are 10 countries in Europe. Around 160 people are employed in Wunderkraut. As I said, we are the largest Drupal shop in Europe. We are not covering whole Europe, but the most of it. So great, how then on earth we can manage all those 160 guys to develop something nice in cloud-based applications. So first thing, we use Agile, and we do it exactly like it's here. If we take a traditional perspective, or I came and I joined them, I still had this experience from a building industry. In a construction business, this is your product management method. This is kind of a waterfall thing. You plan, analyze, there's no code in production. You build a house, you test it if that's needed or asked, and then you sign a document that's released. The same in software. But as projects become more sophisticated, as our teams become more sophisticated, we need to do something else. We need to work on a shorter cycles and deliver something for customer. And there are some crucial parts in our projects we work that has to be delivered quite quickly, because customer has to know that we are working on it, which means that in the first cycle we have to deliver a working software. That can be done. We just, as for those who are familiar with Agile, we work on a coding sprint, and they all include everything what's in the top part of the image. That's how we do it there. Some of our offices emphasize it and implement it better, some don't. Some are restricted by local requirements and local legislations. Like government projects, it's very hard to implement, and it's very tough to work on government projects, which Agile methodology. But we've started already teach government how to apply Agile. And the way we do it pretty nasty way. We ruin the competitions. So we send back a letter to our customers from governments or various institutions saying, this is wrong. You're asking kind of undeliverable things, literally, I mean that. We send to them a letter and say, this is wrong. Then they come back, okay, fine, we accepted the letter, we'll deal with that later. Can you still give us a proposal for the project? We say, no, we won't do that till the moment you implement the things we've asked. So that's the way how we educate it. Sometimes we lose projects with this, but customers become clever. They've already implemented this in their systems. Like in Eastern Europe, this is not the way how it should be, how it's more or less handled. In Eastern Europe, this is the method how it's done. This is a post-Soviet socialist method how it's done. It has to be clear plan, analyze and deliver. So we say this is wrong because probably if you remember Steve Jobs' quotes, people don't know what they want. So how on earth we can work on a project with this approach if they don't know? So we split into tasks. We try to understand what to do, create an initial plan, and then create smaller plans, and then deliver it. Yep, question?
How you manage client expectations with an agile
Okay, good question. That's a really great one. How we manage it. How we manage it. Well, first thing, we educate them. We tell them why Agile is better. Basically, we do it in a way, we tell them why Agile is better for them. We understand perfectly. So first, we have a special set of documents. It can be quite big sometimes, depends on a project, where we try to basically convince customers. As you know, if you give a quote to some project, you sometimes, the person or an organization can ask for additional or supplementary paperwork. So that's what we do, we educate them. We try to convince them why it is better, and why it is better to deliver better results. That's the first thing we do. And how we then deliver the project, it's quite surprisingly, it looks like a mess in the middle of that project, because nobody understands nobody understands where you are or what you do actually at the end. So the crucial part is communication. So we communicate, we can demonstrate what we have done. And on a web project, it can be easily implemented, like you can create a part of your project. Like don't create full application, you can create an admin part, you can create a part of the application, just show it that it's working. It doesn't have to be already on some staging environment where you can just give them a link and allow them to log in or do whatever they want. Or if that's application, you just give them a link to download an application and test it. It doesn't have to be like that. Sometimes we do it via Skype meetings. We just open a screen, share a screen, and show what has been done. That's the way how we build trust. They trust that we are doing something. Does it answer their question? Okay, thanks. Right, and the way we implement it practically is, as I said, we use micro teams. We don't have any massive project manager or sophisticated systems that manage people. We don't implement any we don't work like the banks. You have various mid-level managers, then senior managers, our managers are self-initiated managers. So we join as a micro team starting from 2 people and then ending up to 5, 6. And then one of them, depending on the situation, can become a tech lead of that team. It doesn't mean that we ask from that person to do more. He's the person who just organizes us. He tells us what to do, he asks us, he delegates us tasks. Sometimes it is good because client wants 1 person instead of those 6 to talk with them. So that person interacts with client, receives requirements, answers weird emails and things like that. That gives us an option to work on a cross-border teams. Like I've joined just recently, but past 3 months I've been working via our German office to a Swiss client. So I'm in Latvia, which is on the Baltic Sea, and there is our branch office in Munich in Germany, but we deliver a project for a Swiss client. It's pretty easy. We were on site for initial 2 weeks. After that, we worked from Latvia, and it was very easy to do. By the way, customer was great. One of the greatest customers you can have in your whole life. He understood perfectly what that piece of software does. That's the best customer. We don't have actual management. You might be surprised, but we have only 1 CEO who oversees. I'm kind of a jump over the leadership because actual management and quite a headquarters. We don't have headquarters. If somebody asks me, okay, you're a big organization, where are your headquarters? We don't have them. Our CEO, who is a Finnish guy who lives in London, so that's how I answer. He's just there, and he's perfect techie. He can install things, configure things himself. So if he sees that all the developers are busy, he's a CEO, but he can do it himself. He just knows it. We use leadership, so we don't use management. And I'm not sure, it's tough for me always to explain these things in English, but in Russian there are 2 distinct words which distinguish management from the leadership. Or let me put it that way. We don't use management in the form of bossing, but we use leadership. So leaders are the people who naturally come out of the team. They are, whether they've developed their skills in an environment or whether they've just come out of that environment. So they come out as leaders, they're naturally done. No artificial things. As I mentioned, we have no headquarters, so we use pure agile. Some use less, some use more. Yep, question?
How do you start a normal project? A client comes to your CEO, and CEO talk with a leader of a team and start a new project, or how do you manage that?
Okay, that's a tough one and a good. How do we start then a project? We start a project, basically, let me show you an example. Last week in a DrupalCon Prague, how we start a project. We knew that customer. It's a big world organization. So we tried to kind of find ways to get to the right persons. So what we did last week, we hosted an agile training. So we were trainers, not personally me, but my colleagues. So they were training some people who were interested in agile methodologies. So we ended up, okay, a customer came up to that training, and I don't think he took any knowledge away from that, but what he later said at the end of the day, that he was convinced that method will work. That was first step. Second thing, the following day, that was Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday, me and my colleague, we gave a talk how to migrate big sets of data. So again, customer came again over. He was interested. He asked us lots of tough questions. We answered those questions. And on Wednesday, he came over and talked with other colleague of mine. And then on Thursday, we had an email, not an email, but we use a Skype sometimes for chatting. We had a chat message from our boss, the CEO, that Finnish guy who lives in London, saying that they had signed a contract. So that's one of the ways how we basically, if we want to convince them, whether we try to understand how to go to people out and basically say what they need to do. Sometimes we apply using an official government channels. So we do it various ways, but this is just an example how you can do. Try to show them how you do, and then they will trust you.
Question.
Yep.
If there are no
if there are no headquarters and if there is pure agile methods, and how do you handle the daily meetings with the team and the development team and organize everything without a place to be focused?
Okay, good one. First thing, we do those meetings on Google Hangouts and Skype. We don't use Skype a lot because of various other things, but Hangouts can be used because you can use a video chat between multiple people. We can see each other's faces. Sometimes we can't because it can vary. Internet connection can drop down, speed can slow down, and things like that, various issues, but we see each other. We see each other, we negotiate each other, and the initial thing is just sometimes, as I say, sometimes teams go to one place, one office to another. Europe is not big, like kind of relatively not big, so we go to one another office, we travel around. Like when I will return from Argentina to Latvia, I'll have to go to Belgium to work with Belgian people. That's 2 weeks, initial weeks, we build trust, they see us, they understand us, and then the next thing what happens is pretty easy, we just talk on Skype or Hangout. And we use anything what's regards to agile. Daily stand-ups can be sometimes 2 or 3 depending on the project. Yeah, it's done pretty easy. Right, we are kind of closing or coming to an end of my presentation, and let's sum up what I've said. Leadership checklist. If you want to be a good leader, let's make a checklist of the things you need to do. First thing, lead, don't. And I'll answer on the next slide what you don't need to do. Be visionary. You have to be clear with your visions. And by that I mean you have to be so clear that you can convince your team that your visions are true. Use discernment. That's the way how you apply your visions. You have a vision, you want to do something nice, you apply it to your team, and then you apply common sense to judge whether we can actually do or how we can do it. Show example. This is one of the things. If you want to convince your people eat chocolate, eat first. I'm kidding. No, it's more than like that. If you want to do something, just don't always. In terms of a leadership, if you see that your developers, they're all busy, and if a ticket comes in and you see that that your teammate has committed a mistake, he has made that mistake, and you see it clearly. And probably you want just to say, well, come on, go and correct it. Don't do that. Just show example. Do it yourself. And answer him nicely, say, hey, I've done this nice. Look, we've got a knowledge. People will respond to that friendliness, and they will understand that you care for them. You just don't send them more tasks because they are already busy. And give more. Give more to your people. Give more to your team. Send them to meetups. Send them to meetings. Share knowledge. Things like that. Give them more challenges. That's, I would say, would be correctly this one. If you give more people a challenge, they will grow and they will develop skills more. And last one, leadership is challenging. As we've just come through the presentation, it is discipline. It is your self-discipline. That's the main point as a leader. It can be fun. We can all be humorous and tell jokes. That's the fun part of it. And the answer to my first question in a previous slide is don't demolish, build up. And leadership is changing. You have to always follow the patterns. Whether they are your technical coding patterns, anything what's new, you have to follow them. So be changing. And I have to show an example. So for that presentation, there are a couple of people I'd like to thank you who have helped me with the presentation in different ways. My wife, she always encourages me to talk. She always says that I have to go and talk somewhere. Martin Lazelle, this is my leadership mentor. This is a person who is not related to a software business at all. He's just my leadership mentor, a great guy. And then the next 3 are my current boss, who did not complain that I come down to Argentina and do not work for a week and a half. I'm sure I will get lots of knowledge out of here. Nick Capeling, my previous boss. who encouraged me a lot. And then Ron Chambers, it's again, step back, one of my bosses, who said to me that I have to bring back people and knowledge. And obviously I have to thank all but more than 1,000 books and publications I read, mostly history ones, about great leaders, which just helped me to create this presentation. Good, and that's about it. If you want to find out more, or just argue with me about the things we just discussed today, you can tweet me, that's my Twitter account. You can go to my website. I'm not the greatest blogger in the world. I ran that website for about 3 years, but I have about 25 posts. So I think I need to apply that is changing checklist to myself. That's it. I think we are ready.